So good evening, everyone. I'm 𝗁𝗵𝗹𝗀𝗲. I'm management trainee at 𝗁𝗵𝗂𝗀𝗲, and I welcome you all in our today's session, the challenges faced by in-house counsel and how to overcome them. So thank you so much for joining in. As a subject matter expert for today's session, we have Debosmita Nandy ma'am with us. Debosmita ma'am is a senior legal manager at Indian Tobacco Company. She has extensive 13 plus years of experience in the legal fraternity. Another very unique thing about her is she's also the founder of this very creative and very intuitive initiative called the 5 Things Checklist.
Hi guys, I am Debosmita Nandy. I passed out of NUJS in Calcutta in 2009. It's been more than 11 years now, as opposed to 13 years, which Anupam was saying. So I first worked for 3 years in the litigation law firm of 𝗳𝗵𝗹𝗶𝗀 and Company in Calcutta. And I did the usual running around in court and learning all the groundwork of litigation in those 3 years. Then I got an opportunity to join ITC, and so I did. And around 2012, first I worked in the Calcutta team of ITC Limited, and then from 2014 onwards, I've been working in the Gurgaon team, the northern team of ITC Limited. And yes, it's been quite some time. So I have worked in a variety of industries. As you all know, ITC is in tobacco, in apparel, in hospitality. And so I've worked in all those areas. And here I am talking to you guys today.
All right, ma'am. So that was for the introduction. So again, yeah. So, ma'am, now let's jump into the nitty-gritties of the topic.
Right.
Let's start with the very fundamentals, with very self-explanatory question. What are some of the major challenges faced by in-house counsels?
Okay. Before, I must also thank you guys. Thank you, 𝗁𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗲, for inviting me again to come and talk to you people. Last I spoke with 𝗁𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗲 was on importance of legal writing, and that was a fantastic discussion. And it was 1.5 hours of long and very, very interesting conversation. So you guys should please check that out also. And today again, we are talking about being in-house counsel. Now, let me just make something very clear at the light of the beginning, okay? So that this misconception is not there in anybody's mind. Because I always receive these questions like, how do I become in-house counsel? What quality should I have as in-house counsel? What skill set should I have as an in-house counsel? Let me tell you guys one fundamental thing. In-house counsel are lawyers. So anything that that makes you a good lawyer makes you a good in-house counsel. There's nothing. In-house counsel is not a special species or something like that. It's not a practice area. It is just a career path. Like you can be, for example, a law firm lawyer. You can be an independent practitioner. You can also be an in-house counsel. You can be a judge. You can be anything, right? So it is just one of those career paths that you take. So you just have to ensure that your basic fundamentals as a lawyer is there. So I'm sure anybody can shine as an in-house counsel. There's nothing majorly, big achievement about it. So with that in place, let me just tell you one thing, that the challenges that are faced by in-house counsel are the same as the challenges are faced by any new lawyer who just joined the profession, and that includes the major problem that I see and that I have faced myself too is the practical application of what you've learned in your 5 years or 3 years of law college. I mean, believe me, I'm sure, you could be students, you could be professionals, but when you spend 5 years of studying a subject and you think you know a lot and you've studied a variety of subjects, starting from international law to, constitutional law, and know so much about it, and you enter the workplace with that false sense of, what do I say, superiority, that yes, I know, I can do. And then you realize that what you have to do is nothing that you have learned in law school. And that's when the challenge starts for every lawyer, okay? unfortunately, that's the way our legal education is, so we can't really do anything about it unless it's overhauled completely. Internships are not really helpful to give you that flavor, unfortunately. So you just will have to kind of, so I just let's give you a challenge and give you how to overcome it simultaneously so that we don't come back again to the same topic. Okay. So the way to overcome is basically to keep on learning. When you, and believe me, so there's a reason why the first 2-3 years of a lawyer's professional life is so tough. It is full of long hours and very, very stressful. You don't know what you've gotten yourself into. That's mainly because, number one, your learning curve is very steep. You're learning new things every moment you're in office, right? Number two, you have not done this before. So whatever you have learned in college is not helping you at all. And believe me, even you've written 50 papers of practical law-oriented question papers in your end semester, because we used to have that. We used to have those problem kind of questions, and we thought solving them would really give us an idea as to how to apply the law. It does not, believe me. It does not at all. So, but I'm not scaring you. The point is, everybody goes through this baptism by fire, and it is how well you survive those first 2-3 years is what will kind of shape you up. And you have to go through the grind. Keep your eyes open. What happens is, everybody has a complaint these days that we don't have enough mentors. Believe me, when suppose you become 3-4 years into the profession and you've become experienced, you will not find time to mentor others. That is a fact. So, somebody new has joined the team. The other people do not have the time to handhold you. And what has happened in college, you've always been handheld. Your teachers have told you do this and you've done that, right? You've never done things on your own. You've never taken initiative before. And you expect that you will be taught, that you will be made to sit down and taught this is how a contract is written, or this is how a contract is negotiated. It is not going to happen like that. Okay. So the best way is keep your eyes and ears very open, and whenever there's a team meeting, wherever your senior is talking to a client, your senior is negotiating a contract, uh, absorb, assimilate, learn from what is happening. And the other thing that is very important, and this is a mistake a lot of new lawyers do, and it's very understandable. We are scared to ask questions because we have that fear of being judged as stupid. For example, suppose you're in house counsel and you're sitting in a contract negotiation. Your senior is negotiating very hard on a certain clause, and you're thinking in your head, why is he fighting so much? What things turn on it, right? It's a thought you will be having, but you don't know the answer. So what should you do? Either you should go ask, but you can't ask in the negotiation meeting, right? So later you'll have to approach your senior, ask him, but you will not do it thinking he will think that I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Believe me, it's okay if people think that in your first year or first 2 years. It is much better to come across as stupid and ask questions and learn than trying to guess and maybe not getting the right answers in your head. Then after 3-4 years, you again definitely can't ask those questions because you'll definitely be seen as stupid. So it's always better to have an open mind. Just be very, very open about asking questions. And when you ask questions, easier for people to answer, and that's how you will learn. But if you don't ask, they will never come and on their own will never teach you or tell you, because in their head they know this, right? They will not imagine that you don't know. So basically, so the challenge of not knowing the practical aspects of law is basically learn from by observing your seniors. Okay, the specifically for in-house counsel, this happens. You join a company and they invariably will come to you and say that we are facing this issue. How do we resolve this? And you will, believe me, you might not have any idea as to where to start. Where do I start researching? How do I find an answer? How do I approach the problem? So what happens is, when you're a fresh lawyer, or even when, suppose, you've joined in-house recently, and you will be given these issues of the company, say for example, some labor issues in a factory, for example, or dispute with a agent or a supplier or anything, those kind of things.
Understood.
And you will be wondering, what do I say, right? So the point is, how to approach a problem is something you will only learn on the job. So do not really worry about all these things, and do not beat yourself up by saying that I don't know this. It's okay. Nobody knows this. Nobody joins the company by knowing all these things. You learn on the job. So, just be rest assured on that. Now, the
All right.
second challenge that every lawyer, including in-house counsel, and I think more so them, faces effective communication. Now, what do I mean by effective communication? Let's see, there are two types of communication, written and oral, okay? Now, coming to oral or verbal communication, I'll tell you where in-house counsel will need to really master the skill, and I think this is true for the litigating lawyers too, is how to present your point briefly, clearly, succinctly, without extra words and extra fluff. Uh, for example, suppose you have to go to the head of the department, or you have to go to a senior counsel, and you have to uh, brief about a problem that you say you have been presented with, and you have gone to him for discussion. If you start with, if you start your briefing with what you ate yesterday, he's going to really lose interest very fast. I mean, of course, what I mean to say, if you start with like a long introduction, he's a head of department. He knows. He knows the. I mean, you don't have to give him like a super long introduction, right? For senior counsels too, give the crux of the matter up front. Tell them the problem, and then kind of give them the context, the background, and the solution that you have come up with. Okay, so what happens when we're a law student? You're also used to hear, you love with your voice, you love talking. You may have debated, mooted, and mooting is typically what you start with the facts and you give the issue, then you get into this whole debate and discussion on issues. When you're in-house counsel, or any lawyer for that matter, the ability to hold the other person's attention is very important. And believe me, as in-house counsel, you'll be talking to your boss, you'll be talking to senior management of the company, we'll be talking to senior counsels, we'll be talking to other advocates. So as if you have to learn to be very clear in your communication. So that is one problem that usually happens, but that one can easily overcome by just observe. As I say, learn from your seniors. It's the best thing that I can tell you guys. Just observe what's happening, pick up the best things. So always. So what I've noticed usually is, and even I'm guilty sometimes of it, that if suppose our matter is not coming up, or I don't have the thing, we tend to kind of our mind wanders away and we are doing our own things. That's not the way. If you're sitting in a chamber, if you're observed, just learn from what's happening in the other cases, or in the court what's happening in the other cases. There's a great stuff to learn from there. Okay, now then comes written communication. Now written communication is a whole gamut of things, and most importantly, in-house counsel, they end up writing a lot of emails. Now, you might think email is a very simple, what is there in email is just a casual email conversation, right? So, believe me, email is it's the most important, writing you will do as an in-house counsel, not contracts, not anything else, but emails. And the challenge is because we are not taught in law school as to how, or anywhere, in fact, in our college education or school, nowhere, we don't know how to write an effective email. Again, as in verbal communication, if in an email to a client, if you start with a long winding introduction, nobody's going to read it. You have to write very clearly, to the point. Just give them what you have to say, right? And maybe use effective visual tools like bold and italics and quotes and all of that, or numbered bullets. Just make it, so that nobody has time. You have to remember that nobody has time to
Precisely.
go through a really long email. You don't have to show off your knowledge of law, show off your research, unless you're sending it to your boss. Of course, then you should. But to business clients, no. Just give them the solution. Tell them what to do, what is the issue, or what can be done, and things like that. So that's the other thing that a challenge that happens, and we all learn by through a lot of these our trials and tribulations. Okay, and of course, there are mistakes like how do you address a senior people? Do you say dear sir, which might come across you being subservient? Do you say dear first name, which might be proper? If your company doesn't have the culture like that. So, those kind of navigations, do you sign off with regards, best wishes? You're truly, you believe me when and who will you copy? Do you copy the entire department? Do you copy his boss? Do you copy your boss? Believe me, those kind of, you will end up spending time trying to answer those questions. So, as non-glamorous as it may sound, email writing is an art, and it's something which is to be learned while on the job. Now, coming to the third challenge that can happen is see, when you join a company, you have to understand one thing. You are not only a lawyer when you are working in the company. You are more than a lawyer, and that mindset has to change. So what I mean by that is, suppose a company comes to you with a problem, or rather they say that we want to do X, Y, Z. Will you advise us whether, it's okay to do it? Now you might research and find out there are some issues, there are some legal regulatory issues in this. So you tell them that, no, you can't do it, A, B, C, D is the problem. However, it's a very lucrative proposition for a company. They want to do it, so they want to know what they should do so that they fall within the legal ambit. You cannot sit back and say, no, you can't do it because I've told you it's illegal, you can't do. You have to come up with a solution. You have to be a strategic thinker, and you have to help the business. Believe me, you cannot be a roadblock to the company. Then you will not be an effective in-house counsel. That mindset is something which people take time to get, because as a lawyer, you tend to be a very like, I have interpreted it this way, so this is the way to go. But as we all know, law can be interpreted in many ways. So you have to have that open mind to go get in the other shoes, and come up with a solution and come up with a way to do things which otherwise could not have been done. Okay, so to be more than a lawyer, to be a solution-oriented strategic thinker is what an in-house is what an effective and good in-house counsel is all about. You you need not be the best in law, you need not be the best anything, but at the end of the day, you should have the ability to come up with a solution to a problem. That's it. Okay, now there's another challenge which sometimes come up is in-house counsel sometimes get overtly reliant on outside counsel, because a lot of people have this thought process that I am an in-house counsel. If I can't find an answer to something, then I can quickly make a call to my outside counsel and get an answer, and that's how my work can be done. And so people tend to think, oh, it's an easy job. It's an easy job is what people think. However, I must tell you that overly relying on an outside counsel can really, really be a problem for in-house counsel. There could be many problems. The answer could be wrong. If you don't do your proper, check, it could land you in a soup within your company. So that's definitely one should keep in mind, that it's not a simple case of being a postman and taking the files here and giving it there and just getting the things done. It's not like that. You have to do the groundwork. You have to do the base work, and that's where your own research skills, your own abilities come into play. Okay. Now, what else? Yeah, teamwork. I think some of us are not inherently maybe are not good team players, and it becomes really problematic when you work in a in-house department because unlike a law firm practice where maybe you have this practice area and that is your small cocoon, you are part of this bigger team, and it's very important that you learn to work with other team members, and you cannot work in silos. Maybe the same kind of work that you have done has already been done by another colleague, and if you don't collaborate and talk about it, you might end up giving a very different opinion to the company, and they'll be like, okay, this lawyer is saying this lawyer is saying, so what is the so there has to be a very collaborative work in an in-house counsel, in-house department. So that's something that is must be kept in mind when you're in-house counsel. Definitely, if you join any law firm or that, I mean, team player is a valuable skill anywhere you join. So that is there. What else? Yeah, a lot of in-house work is uh, understanding and negotiating contracts, and that is something that nobody learns in law school. Uh, and that is something that is very difficult to pick unless you are doing it yourself. Uh, Again, it's not something which is very easily learned just by observing. You have to do the hard work. You have to sit down and understand the contract and negotiate it with an opposing counsel, and you know get hammered a few times, hone your negotiation strategies, uh, come up with ways and means to get your point across while keeping the company's interest intact. So that is a challenge, which is definitely, I mean, it's again something, like I said, the problem solving thing, it's contract negotiation and understanding. I must say one
Yes.
thing that you will rarely draft a contract from scratch. That's something that usually not happen. So while we all harp upon the fact that one should know how to draft a contract from scratch, while it's a very useful knowledge, in workplace, usually you will get a contract and you have to read, understand it, and negotiate it. Uh, so, and for that, one very important thing that one should do is understand the business of the company. That's why a lot of companies, when people join, even in the legal department, they have an orientation. Though they understand the business, they take tours. Like I, for example, have taken a tour of the cigarette factory to see how it's done, to see how the cigarette is manufactured. I have also visited, dealers and all in the market to see how it is, at what stage, how it is
Yeah.
being sold, and all of that process. Because
Distribution.
that's, yeah, distribution. So that is very important to understand, so that tomorrow when you're sitting with a contract, which maybe is with a vendor or distributor, you are able to, understand what you're
Yeah.
negotiating. You will not fly blind. So even if your company does not have a policy like that, just make friends with the business people, sit with them, ask them, how things happen. Whenever I take up a new portfolio of work, and I still do because we are such a big company and our work keeps getting changed, keeps getting changing. I understand how it is. So I understand the business language. Usually, when they send a contract or send something, they'll say so and so. They use some industry language, which they think that we all know, but we don't, right? So again, don't be afraid to ask questions because you are not expected to know. everything. I think yes, that's broadly the challenges that I can think of.
Wonderful, ma'am. Very elaborated and yet very precise answer. So just to articulate the takeaways a bit more, can I summarize it a bit?
Yes.
So the crux of the answer is, first you need to be inquisitive. Ask a lot of questions in the initial years, because it's better to ask questions in the initial years than being unprepared in the later following years, right, ma'am?
Absolutely. Right.
Then being proactive with your learning. Keep your eyes and ears open. Quoting Debosmita Nandy, keep your eyes and ears open. When see your seniors, how they are arguing, how they are discussing the clients, how they are communicating with the senior manager of the company. Then the effective communication part. So precise, accurate, and direct communication with seniors, with clients, with colleagues, with management, right, ma'am?
Yes,
And then my
absolutely.
personal favorite on this particular topic, Debosmita has written on her blog also, the 5 thing checklist, mastering the art of writing emails. So it's the most important, most frequent thing you will ever write, and you have to be extremely pertinent and yet very, very concise in your written as well as verbal communication. Then being more than a lawyer. This is again Debosmita's word. I'm quoting her. Being more than a lawyer. So when you are in a company, you are expected not only to do the legal advice, do the compliance due diligence, you are also expected to facilitate the business. So don't only tell these are the caveats, also come up with the solutions to them.
Yes.
So, and what else? Coordinating with the outside counsel, not relying on their work very much, cross-checking what solutions they are proposing and tailoring those solutions as per the company's business, because it's you who know the company's business, not them. All right.
Right.
And then knowing the nuances of your company's operation through and through. You should be knowing how the factories work, how the distribution works, how the sales team works. So these were all the challenges that you can face. You can possibly face as a in-house counsel in India. Thank you
Yes.
so much. All right. So very precise takeaways. So now this leads me to a very obvious question that in it's a very hectic schedule when you are an in-house counsel. You almost got 12 hours of work, and sometimes they can call you in the middle of night and get this thing sorted for me.
Yes.
This can't wait. So that's another challenge. So how do in-house counsels do knowledge management? Because in law firms there is a dedicated team to it. They have 4 or 5 people who keep eye on all the government website कि आज ये notification आया, ये circular आया, ये bill का बात हुआ parliament में, and they keep the client surprised. But how do in-house counsels go about it?
Okay. In fact, even my company has that a way of getting the updates and notifications of what's new is happening.
Yeah.
And we do get email notifications on that. However, the easiest way, and see now it's you no more have to sit with those SCCs that are released, and you don't have to go through them, which earlier our seniors had done. I've seen them. So our seniors meaning not immediate seniors, but like uh, very senior, very senior people, and that's how they kept themselves abreast of what's happening, the new precedents, and what's happening in the court and all that. Now it is very simple. Now there are so many online media. There is bar and bench. There is live law. And all of that, and they, if you subscribe to their updates, they send you updates over email. So that's one way. This SCC journal blog that they also send across weekly emails on what happened in various courts and those kind of things. So, and there are law firms who also send these emails with the updates, legal updates. So you just have to collect all of them, add your emails to all of those, online media. You will get those material. Now you have to take out time to read them in a different aspect completely. And the other thing you can do is, suppose you're in a very specified industry, and suppose, for example, suppose you are, say, fintech, for example. So you can put some Google alerts of those keywords pertaining to your interest area, and then you will get a notification of any article or anything that comes up on Google. So Those are the ways you have to, because nobody else will do it for you. Like in a law firm, you will have to do it yourself. So yes, you just have to be proactive about these aspects and get yourself updated.
All right. So it's a mix of many things. So you coordinate with the external firm also. They keep sending you updates. You have to do some independent reading of your own on the major platforms like Bar Invention, Live Law, and Legally India. And then there is this is what you told me. Independent reading, external counsels coordination, and what, ma'am?
Blog updates, SEC
Yeah,
journal
yeah.
blog.
Google alerts. Google alerts.
In Google alerts. Yes.
Yes. So okay, this is what comprised of the knowledge management in-house counsels. All right, coming to the next question, ma'am. Though it's a very generic one and you have talked upon it a lot more, but still for the sake of the viewers, what's the difference in the work culture and the expectations, the work expectations as a in-house counsel and as a law firm lawyer?
Okay.
You have worked
See.
in both now, so you can give us a very right corollary.
Yes. So there's one very fundamental difference between a law firm lawyer and an in-house counsel. That's law firm lawyers are specialists because they work in a particular practice area. They go very deep down into that particular area, so they become specialists, and that's where their expertise lie. Whereas in-house counsel are usually tend to be generalists. They usually tend to work on a wide variety of law, and it's not restricted to a practice area. And that's why the term general counsel comes in, because you are supposed to be an overall, you are supposed to know an overall, a wide variety of law. That's a fundamental difference. The second thing that the difference is, I would say, as a law firm lawyer, when you advise or counsel, you would only look at the law. You will do a deep dive into the research and give your opinion. And you will also add your disclaimers and caveats and all of that to your opinion. Okay. When you're in house counsel, when you advise your business, you cannot put all those caveats because you will have to own that advice. Tomorrow, when the advice is getting implemented and there's an issue, you will be summoned again to provide a solution to that. So yes, you will end up being the owner of your advice and solution. So and you can't give caveats and disclaimers because you know the facts, you know the situation, you know the business, and you are supposed to provide a wholesome. I mean, I'm not saying that you cannot be wrong. That's fine. Nobody knows what happens in the future. Okay, you can never say that we'll win this case or this will happen. That's understandable, but you have to own your advice.
Precisely. So I remember this very interesting webinar I did. It's again, the theme was in-house counsel only, and ma'am told me ki law firm lawyers are specialists, in-house counsels are multi-specialists. That's something which sticked.
Yeah, I mean, I would not say that we are multi-specialists because it's not possible to be multi-specialists. But in-house counsel can be hit with a query on, say, employment law today by the HR department. Tomorrow, say a breach of contract by the finance department. The other day, say information technology related issue by the IT department, because the company has so many departments and so many things are happening. It's a huge machinery, right? So it will have queries on a wide variety of law. It will not. That doesn't mean that you will become expert on employment law plus IT law plus contracts. It doesn't really happen like that. Usually, what happens after you work in a number of years in a certain industry, in-house counsel tend to become typecast as a specialist in that industry. Usually that's what happens. If you're working in a software company, you will know more about IP laws. If you're working in a media entertainment company, you will be more expert on IP laws. Those kind of things happen. But yes, you do tend to know a lot, work on a wide variety of law.
All right. So this person has sent it to me privately, so I won't take name. But he is saying that in-house counsels are medium for the company to interact with the to interact with the law firm, to the external counsel. What he means.
Okay,
So
okay.
what's your take on that?
Not at all, not at all. You'll be surprised to know that many legal issues are solved in house. It never goes outside to the external counsel. External counsels are required in two cases. Number one, when you have to file a case because you cannot appear in court. Number two, when it's a very complicated issue or complicated deal or complicated transaction that's happening, and an expert and a specialized person is required to give that advice. That's the other time that companies need an external counsel. I don't agree with that.
Certainly. So that was the answer. All right. So now coming to the next question, ma'am. Uh, so I think most of the people will be knowing it, but for the sake of formality, ma'am has also founded this initiative, the 5 Thing Checklist, which is a very intuitive and very practical knowledge hub, where she passes on some useful knowledge to young lawyers and law students so that they can they can get their footing on the top companies like ITC and all. So ma'am, how is the 5 Thing Checklist exactly contributing back to the legal fraternity? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
remember studying this note when you launched this. I read your LinkedIn post. What was the intention behind it? So can you reinforce that spirit in the webinar, please?
Okay. The whole idea behind starting the blog was just a thought that and the realization that today's law students, as law students that I was 11 years ago, are not equipped with practical uh, ways to deal with law when they enter a workplace. And when you enter a workplace, it's not just the law that have to navigate. You have to navigate a whole gamut of things which change overnight, right? So, and I've learned whatever I've learned through trials and errors and some mistakes and tears. So I just want to help today's law students and young lawyers by telling them this is what I did, this is what you can do too, so that others don't have to commit the same mistake or go through the same stress now. So I just want to help by giving practical tips, practical notes, and on contract drafting. As you know, my blog has a few sections. So one is I write articles on contract drafting, and believe me, those 2 semesters of contract law that you study, when you
It's completely different.
it's very different. So of course you will use that. So you should of course have a very solid theoretical understanding of contract law to be able to then do the negotiate the contract very smoothly, because suppose the other side lawyer is negotiating very hard on damages clause, you should know the law of damages to be able to counter him, right? So that's what. So one is contract drafting, one is a litigation strategy, which I write upon. I also write on career, because I find a lot of people very confused about what they
Yeah.
want to do, how to choose a career, and all that. So I try to answer those questions in various of my articles. I have this video series called Mentor Speak, where because I only have one kind of career trajectory, and if people ask me about something else, I am not the best person to answer. So, and I also want to showcase that it's okay. You can start with something and end up as something else. It's okay to meander in your career path. So I invite other senior professionals, and I have a chat with them, and I put that up on my YouTube for other people, for others to listen and be inspired from. Yes, and I also started an Instagram page for this small, bite-sized information. These kind of same content, useful, practical. Just I think what happens is those are the things nobody tells you, but I think somebody should tell others, right? So yes, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just telling you. I'm just giving away the secrets. That's what I'm doing with the 5 things checklist. Okay, so the blog's name is the 5 things checklist. It's very easy, the 5thingschecklist.com, and the YouTube channel is also 5 things checklist. You can find that out. Okay. I see there are some questions. While I wait for Anubhav, let me just quickly take them. Okay. Uh, Anubhav is here, so
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
My internet sold me out again. I'm so sorry,
That's
everyone.
okay. No problem. No problem. There are some questions. So how do we do? I mean, let's finish what you have for me, and then we can dive into the questions.
All right, all right. So I just have only one with me left. So it is, yeah. So as you know, 𝗨𝗶𝘂𝗻 makes the courses for lawyers and legal professionals basically to equip them with the practical knowledge so that they don't they don't have to struggle. They don't have to bear the same struggle in the initial years
Right.
of not knowing the practical aspects of law, as you very rightly discussed in the webinar. So if we build a course specifically for the aspiring in-house counsels, what can we teach in that?
I don't think there is any specific legal subject that you can teach to in-house counsels because
No, not
that
subject, but skills.
okay,
Like, yeah.
skills. I think it would be the usual. It would be the effective communication. Okay, it should be people skills. It should be networking. How to do that? It should be time management because all these are important for all kinds of lawyers and of course in-house counsels too. To have commercial awareness, to understand the business, how to do that. Those things is what I can think.
All right, all right. So guys, did you listen to the answer carefully? More than skills, these are traits. So you have to be very thorough with the time management. You won't say to a sir कि sir आज काम करने का मन नहीं है, तेरे कल ले लेना. That's not how it works. In the law firms, they say कि 18 घंटे काम करना पड़ता है. In in-house, the story is not very different. One more thing, time management, networking skills, accurate communication, and as ma'am highlighted previously, drafting, contract drafting, reviewing, and negotiation. So
and people skills. That's very important.
Skills.
How to deal with people.
Exactly. So people skills also. So I would take this opportunity to plug in 𝗨𝗶𝘂𝗻's drafting course. So we have a dedicated course on contract drafting, negotiating, and dispute resolution on 𝗨𝗶𝘂𝗻's website. I will be sending the link in chat. You can check them out. So yeah, that's that. So let's now delve into the questions by attendees. Should I pick the questions because
yes,
there are
please
a lot
do.
of
There are a lot of please do.
All right. So AJ has sent multiple questions, but the theme of the webinar is challenges faced by in-house counsel. So the crux here is ki, can you share some anecdotes around your job, like where you came across as a challenge and what strategy you employed to get over it? If that's something we can discuss.
I'm not very sure. I'd like to, I'm not giving an interview. Friends here that I want to talk about my work and how I overcame those challenges. I'm sorry. That's I don't think it's because there have been many. It's difficult to pick one and two, and
precisely.
I don't want to be talking about my company work, especially here.
Precisely. So yeah, I totally understand, ma'am. Between M&A, where are more pertinent questions? How do you get stressed? Yeah. Okay, ma'am. So I think this one by AJ. How do you do stress management and how do you maintain the work-life balance? Yeah. Because that's something very important. Otherwise, people leave the job, or sometimes they are made to go with a very subtle and gentle push.
Right. No. Believe me, it's on you. Stress management, maintaining a work-life balance. taking care of your mental health, it's all on you. Nobody else is going to keep a tab on you. Nobody's going to ask you that how are you feeling? Are you okay? And nobody's going to do that. So nobody's going to baby you. Believe me. Uh, I've the way I do it personally is by having a very active life, or rather a very what do I say?
Disciplined
A
life.
life. Not really. What I mean to say is having a life other than my job. Uh,
Okay.
I have my writing interests. I have this blog, uh, and I very dedicated towards them. So I mean, I don't know if many of you know, I also write fiction. So I write, and that's my another that's interest area. So writing fiction and writing for the blog, and just working on the blog and writing my LinkedIn posts and interacting with people. That's very different from my office job. So that keeps me going. It can be anything for anybody. If you like music, just be playing the guitar. You should totally dedicate. Basically, don't neglect your hobbies or your interests while you are working. You have to take out some time for your own well-being, and it's on you to do it. You have to maintain that discipline, that routine, to be able to carve out 15 minutes for your workout, half an hour for your, say, music or dance or gardening or cooking or anything that gives you joy. When your life is not only about work, and it's a wholesome thing, because then you will find joy in work. Then you will not find it a burdensome thing that it is so stressful. And believe me, it is stressful. Law firm, in-house, whatever, like initial years and even later, it gets
Hmm.
very, very difficult.
All right.
When there's some high stake thing going on and you're very into it, you're spending nights and weekends and everything working, it tends to get very, very overwhelming. But it's a phase. It's, and you should always remind yourself you're learning so much. And while in college, you are always, when will we learn something? When will we do that? So here it is, you're learning finally, right? So just having that very interest filled life. And please don't think that partying and those will give you joy. It's not. It's very empty. The drinking, partying, uh, that will wear you down. That So you should do things which gives you actual joy. And that's how I at least do stress management in my own life and maintain the balance.
That's very thrilling answer. So guys, you can incorporate those insights in your life. So there is very interesting question here by again private. So he's asking companies don't tend to hire freshers very often, and they prefer someone who has at least 2 to 3 years of experience. So is it mandatory to have an experience in law firm or in a chamber in order to become a in-house counsel in a renowned organization?
Okay, there's a reason why companies don't hire freshers,
Yeah.
because see, as I said, in-house counsel at the end of the day are lawyers, right? But in-house counsel, if every company prefers a team member who has experience in the practical side. For example, litigation. For example, say something other, a law firm. What happens now when you come with that experience? See, why do law firms hire so much freshers? Because there's an attrition rate, there's a churning happening, people are leaving, they need more people. That's why so much hiring happens. Companies are usually small legal departments. So there's not so much churning happening. There's not that much expanding, and there's lots of hiring happens. So they have to hire very carefully, and they don't want to hire a fresher, and then train that person. They would prefer that person to come with some certain skill sets, the practical understanding of law, because it will help the company. Those kind of experience will help the company. That's why companies prefer to hire people with experience. And as I say, in-house counsel is just a career path. You begin as a lawyer, as say independent practice, a law firm, law, anything. Begin as something. You gain the experience, and then you may choose to branch out into being an in-house counsel later. The whole idea of I want to be in-house right from the beginning of your career, having that aspiration will not really help you because companies are very, very moderate
Picky.
hiring.
You were trying to avoid the word. All right. So that's that. So just a very um, hmm, small question. How much experience is preferred by the companies? 1 year, 2 year, 3 year?
Um, Difficult to say honestly. Usually, I have seen definitely 2 or 3 years plus. Because see, first year, I mean, 1 year you don't really
No.
learn much, right? So at least 2 to 3 years is what you need to get a grounding, to get a in what you've been doing, and that's when companies. That's what you can take to That's how you will be able to sell yourself to the company, right? That this is what I bring to the table, so hire me.
Again, let's not. All right, man. So great answer. So this another question. The difference with this one is about remuneration. So how a law firm lawyer is differently remunerated than a in-house counsel, and are there any other differences than salary? Like I think I read somewhere that in-house counsel also offers shares or ESOPs or something. Yeah. So can we get some insights on that?
Just like law firms, I mean, not all law firms in the country pay you similarly, or not all companies also pay you similarly. So there's a wide range of salary that exists in law firms and in companies. So it all depends on what you are comparing. If you're comparing a top tier firm with a top company, usually law firm lawyers get paid more. That's a fact. That's okay, But that doesn't mean that. I mean, because beyond a time, salary becomes it becomes a very fluid concept, right? In-house counsel you may get ESOP, they can get perks, they get to some various other components which add up, and it all depends, what how you compare, whether you want to be in a top tier firm or in top bucks, or you want to be in a company. So as I said, it's a career transition at that stage in life. Up to you how you want to transition, whether you want to get into an in-house path, then you'll have to be content with the salary, that's market standard salary that's happening there, or may want to continue the law firm. So then up to you.
All right. All right. So it's always hard to get such insights regarding remuneration because not many people are willing to talk. So thanks you so much, ma'am, for being so enlightening on this very difficult topic, I would say. So yeah, that was it. Other I sent some pertinent questions now. What difference between law firms? I mean, how to get freshers? These questions, some of these questions have already been answered, or they are not relevant to the theme. You have said that law is still a very active field. So I think it's a time also. So what do you think, Debosmita? Should we bid a due, or would you like to address something else? Because I think attendees don't
Let
have
me
any
then
more
go
questions.
through. Okay, let
Hmm.
me just go through questions quickly and see if I want to answer any of them. Challenges faced and how, as a lawyer woman, and how did you overcome them? I have talked about it in another show. Uh, it's by Law Gears. You can check that out. Other articles you publish moves women considered when being hired. As I said, very few companies hire freshers. So,
Yeah,
and when they hire, the usual rules apply. When you apply,
they see
as a
experience. They don't see yeah, publications and notes and all.
yeah. And once you start working, all this become they go in the background. Necessary to first work in a law firm, it's preferable, as I said. That's how it usually works. That's how they prefer. That's how the reality is. Mm, Differences I've answered between M&A and that's not my area at all. In fact, I don't do M&A. I don't do international liability. None of these two.
Why would
So
I in-house counsel do M&A?
differences you witnessed in Khaitan was Samachand versus Luthra. See, I interned in Luthra and Amachand, then I worked in Khaitan, so I honestly can't compare. How to be a good in-house counsel? I've answered this. First question answer. Ma'am, okay. Complicated case. No, as I said, I don't want to talk
We
about
don't share
certain cases.
anecdotes. Yeah.
Yes. And not necessary, right? That's
Yeah.
why I've named the blog. I have read the list. Tata Sumo case. Oh my God. Now, no. Talk about such a
Mm.
bird's eye view and side view. Okay. That's a Hmm. Wow, somebody's offered to do this work for update to keep here from me for free if I have him. AJ, thank you. That's a very kind offer, AJ. But if I don't do it myself, I don't think I'll learn. So,
That's that.
oh great. Anu has done a very nice summary here. Thank you.
Anu is me only. Anubhav Garg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. I think we have covered everything.
Yeah, na?
And everything. Great,
Mm.
done. We are all done here.
All right. So with this, people, thank you so much for joining in. Special thanks to Debosmita ma'am to budget this 1 hour from her Sunday. She gets only 1 day a week, and still she came and contributed to all our knowledge and bothered to enlighten us. Thank you so much, ma'am. And do check her blog. Yeah, it's the name is the five thing checklist. So it's a really insightful. She also has this weekly newsletter, I guess.
Yes,
Subscribe to that as well.
yes. The
Subscribe
newsletter
to
is a
that.
new thing I'm doing. I'm experimenting with it, and I'm having a lot of fun curating various kinds of knowledge in it. And yeah, I send it out every 2 weeks. So yeah, please visit my blog, just read up, check it out. It would be great.
It's a great
Name
knowledge
of the
add.
newsletter. If you
Yeah.
come to my blog and if you'll find it there. You just have to
Yeah.
subscribe. You have to give your email ID there, and you will receive it when I send it next.
All right. So with
And I
this,
also, sorry, I'm sorry. I've written a free ebook.
hmm,
It's called Law Student to Lawyer 20 Vital Lessons the Law School Doesn't Teach You. I also send you that when you subscribe. So,
yeah. All right. So with this guy, thank you so much for. Achha, before we leave, just one more thing.
yes.
Can we have how many people? Excluding us, there are 14 participants. Can you
Mhm.
guys please rate this session on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest, so that we can get a sense of feedback by how we did and where we can improve.
Yes, I want to know my score.
5. Okay, Adil. Thanks, Adil. Naresh,
I don't
5.
I don't think people are going to say. I mean, I don't know. Oh,
No, I have got sometimes one as like a moderator, one speaker, 5 as well. Okay. Partha, 5. It was an excellent session. Thank you. So overall
thank
it was
you.
good.
Yes,
Hmm.
thank you, Anubhav, and thank you, Losiko, for having me. I always enjoy talking to people, and thank you guys for joining me here. And great see you all over in my blog or see you on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. So yes.
Okay.